personal finance columnist for the Washington Post and author of What to Do When Your Money, with Your Money When Crisis Hits. I know the book. I got a little blurb on it. Michelle Singletary, good to see you. All right, so as I said, there was a rebound at the end of the week, so most of the losses were made up. But what should 401k investors be doing right now? And let's start with maybe those early mid-career investors first.
Right. Well, you should just be sitting back, reading a nice book for the summer, maybe my book. Listen, I understand that when the markets did what it did at the beginning of the week, people panicked. And I'm not going to tell you not to panic. This is your hard-earned money, and you're like, I'm so worried. But the thing is, you cannot run your portfolio based on these daily or weekly dips. And it wasn't a crash. It didn't tank. I mean, if you compare it to a real crash, and you got to put that in perspective. Like what I did for myself, and when people feel that way, I say, open up the app or go online, look at your account, look at the 1-year return, look at the 3-year return, the 5 and 10 year. I just did before the show. I'm up 20% for the year. Hey. So you have to put it in perspective, right?
Good. So let's talk about those folks now. So that's early mid-career. But if you're 5 years out from retirement, right, that hits different. What should these folks be doing?
You know, I really would recommend that if you're not sure what's happening, that you get with a fee-only financial planner and have that person look over your entire portfolio, what your plans are for retirement, because you should have a retirement plan, because you want some money that is not subject to the roller coaster of the stock market. So you want some cash set on side in a CD or a high yield account so that as you get closer to retirement, that's your safety money. And then you can let the rest of the money roll, because think about it. When you retire, you're not going to take all that money out at one time. And most retirees now are living 20 to 30 years in retirement, and that money has to be exposed to growth so you can keep pace with inflation. So you need, if you're 5 years out, you need a retirement plan so you understand what's happening. And one of the things of your plan is get rid of all that debt that you have, so that when the market goes a little crazy, you're not worried about carrying that liability on your books.
Can we talk mortgage rates? 30-year fixed mortgage rates hit 6.47%. It was 7.22%. Now, for people who are, I just imagine all these people like that, you know, that double Dutch rock that you do right before you jump into the ropes. There are people who want to do that in the housing market. What should they be doing looking at this? The lowest in maybe more than a year. Is now the time to get in or not?
Well, you know, I would say, first of all, before you jump into that jump rope, you ought to make sure your finances are correct, because it's almost, I like to tell people, you don't want to focus just on the interest rate. Are you prepared for home ownership? Have you gotten rid of debt? Do you have a good budget in place, which is not a bad word? So sometimes people focus on one thing about whether they should lean in, but you need to look at the entire picture. And a lot of people are not quite ready for home ownership. If they're carrying a lot of debt, they don't really have a budget, because people will clean up their balance sheet just before they buy a house and then go back to the same bad habits. And then they end up in a house that they can't afford. Because, and when I say can't afford, I don't mean just the monthly mortgage payment. I mean room to save for retirement. If you have children, room to save for them to go to college. You know, room to help other people in your life. I'm about to go to church. Are you giving to other people as a part of your budget? So before you take that leap, look at your entire financial picture to make sure that you're strong and you can go into the house with a peace of mind.
All right. Well, I appreciate you talking to us before you go into church this morning. And let me make sure I get the name of the book right. I don't want to mess up your coin. The book is...
I appreciate that.
Indeed. What to Do with Your Money When Crisis Hits. Michelle Singletary, always good to have you on. Thanks.
Such a relevant
book right now. And don't forget to tell them to read the Washington Post, too.
Oh, yeah. And read her column in the Washington Post. It's also on the website. I read it this morning about taking the politics out of the market. All right. Got it all there.
Send me the link. All right.